What's up, sports fans, and welcome to the Sports Opinions Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Cuesta, and with me today is an 11-year WNBA veteran, an entrepreneur, and a member of the Rutgers women's basketball team that went to the national championship, the one, the only, Matee Ajavon. What's up, Matee?
Hey, what's up, Alex? Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm really excited to have you, and I'm actually super excited because I did have a pro basketball player that plays over in Europe, a buddy of mine, and now Alexis. He went to Marist, as I did.
Nice.
But you are my first official pro that resides in the States and has played on a major national sport in the States. So this is huge, and I really appreciate you even agreeing to come on.
No problem at all.
So where can anyone find you on social media or anything like that if they're looking to find you?
Well, sure. I'm on Instagram as Ajavon2U2, AJAVONFO. Wait, 2UYOU, the number 2. I had to think about it because I switched my number over the course of the year. 22 was my college number. But yeah, that's my Instagram as well as my Twitter.
All right. And as I said, so Matee, you played for the WNBA. You told me that you're recently on a hiatus. Is it just a hiatus? Are you going to go back to playing, or where are we at right now? I don't want you to, if you announce it on my show, if you're retiring, that would be great. But what exactly is the plan right now?
Well, I did take a break this year to, start really take a shift to think about, life after basketball.
Yep.
So I started my scouting company, and I'm still an active player, not retired quite yet, but I'm at that point where, of course, it's when you start thinking about what's next and what else excites you.
Yeah, 11 years. 11 years is a long time, especially in professional sports. That's a lifetime. Many athletes don't get that opportunity to play 11 good years of whatever sport it is. And basketball, which is physically demanding, you're constantly moving up and down, you're beating up your body, you're working your tail off. Throughout your professional career, what so far can you look back on and say that has been some of the best things that you've enjoyed doing?
I think overall the experience, being able to travel the world, aside from the WNBA, where I played a year in Houston, 5 years in DC, and then 4 years here in Atlanta. In between those WNBA seasons, what happens is we go overseas. So we're playing year round from 5 months of WNBA. The rest of our 7 months is spent in Europe. So I've been fortunate enough to play 7 years in Turkey, 1 year in Poland, 1 year in Brazil, 1 year in Romania, and then this past April I returned from Israel. So I think overall it's been the experience, an experience of a lifetime. I've been able to embrace different cultures, learn a lot of things, and travel the world for, just to bounce the ball. So it's quite the life.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. And the opportunity that you're afforded being a professional athlete, being able to do that is awesome. But we're going to talk more later because it's kind of a travesty that you have to do that, because you WNBA players should be making enough money where you don't have to do that in your off season. But we're definitely going to address that a little later in the podcast. I do have to say, I did notice that you represented the United States. What was it, in the Pan American Games where you won a gold medal there?
Yeah, that was my, I believe that was my junior year in college.
How was that experience? Was there a lot of pros that you were with? Was it a lot of other college players? What was the makeup of that team?
Yeah, it was great. I had a lot of players on that team. I had Alexis Hornbuckle, Angel McCoughtry, Tasha Humphreys at the time, who went to the University of Georgia. It was just a makeup of great players. Dawn Stelly was our coach. And, I had a great time. It was an excellent experience.
That's fantastic. And yeah, I always had the aspirations of being a professional something. I ran track at Marist. It never panned out because I had so many ankle surgeries and my body's just, I'm a retired athlete at this point at the age of 30. It's kind of, that's why I marvel at all of the other athletes like you that can continue to do it and keep yourselves in tip top shape. And without a doubt, every one of us have dealt with injury, and it's just that some of us can bounce back from it and get back to a high level. I always marvel at athletes like you that can get through all that adversity and keep pushing.
Definitely.
So quickly, I want to ask you, what advice are you, if any young athletes, male, female, doesn't matter, listening to this, what advice would you give them if they get the opportunity to go pro? What experiences that you have that you thought it was going to be like this and then it ended up being like that type of deal?
I would say enjoy every moment of it. It goes by so fast. These 10 years I'm like, geez, I feel like I just left college. Yeah, just enjoy the sport. Take everything in. Take a lot of pictures. Enjoy it. Save your money.
Yeah.
A lot of those things. It's an amazing experience. Being a pro, it's the highest level of achievement in any sport you can play, and you have a lot of fans. Respect that. Enjoy those moments where people admire you for a sport, because I've seen a lot of athletes get into when they're older. You don't have those things anymore. When you're retired, you don't have those things anymore. Take advantage of the sport. Be smart about it. Help as many people as you can along the way, but also just take it all in. Take it all in.
That's great advice. And you were saying that a lot of older players kind of don't have things to fall back on. And that's kind of what you're trying to set up right now, which is crazy to think that you're not old. I'm not going to mention your age because I never mention a lady's age, but that's not, my mama raised me better than that. But you're not old, but you do have to think about the next life of entering more into, in a lack of a better term, the real world, where you're not going out and playing ball all the time. You're going to still play, but not at the super competitive level. You have started a company. I'm going to let you take it away. What is your company doing? What is the goal of your company right now?
So I have a company called iScout Women's Basketball, where I essentially, I am a recruiting service, and I help international and domestic kids here in the USA get into college. So I'm basically the one helping the colleges find talent all across the world.
Now, if you're a college, do you have to, now how does this work? Do the athletes go through you? Do the colleges go to you and then you scout for them, or is it kind of both?
Yeah, so I set up the service, and I tell the colleges, hey, you should check out this kid, and she's this age and she's already at this level. She would fit in great with your college, and yeah, that's how it goes. And then I also give the players advice from my standpoint, being in their shoes, have been in their shoes, what it takes to be this kind of player for this level, or the kind of training, the mindset you have to have. So I think being able to relate to these girls who aspire to get to the level I've been in every aspect, I feel like I'm like the perfect fit on both sides.
Isn't it just crazy sometimes when you're looking at these younger athletes, these girls in your case, and you're seeing all this talent, and then you're talking to them and you kind of hear them say things that you're just like, no. And it kind of makes you bring back to yourself when you were young and you're like, I sure as hell would not have listened to me if I would have told me no there.
Yeah.
Like, how, like, I've coached, when I got done running track, I played football my whole life too. I went back to my high school, coached a little football, cross country track, came back at Marist College where I ran, coached there. And it was like just funny coming back and talking to some of the athletes. And even though I wasn't too far removed from their age, just listening to them going, no, don't do that. I did that. Don't do that. Like, How weird is that? And what are usually typically the athlete's reaction when they say something? You're just like, no, 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 that's not the right thing to do. This is the right way to do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of that. And I think I always put myself in their shoes like, man, I was that kid where you, number one, you don't know how fast 10 years go.
It's
It's like,
insane. It's
yeah, I mean,
absolutely insane. Yeah.
it's insane. And I'm like, I try to be that big sister to say, um, yeah, like, don't do that.
Yeah, that's not smart. I did that. Or I had a
Don't
friend that
do
did
that.
that. And like,
Yeah.
it's insane because you see so many great athletes around you as well, where if you would have made their mistake, you wouldn't have been where you are. If you would have had their injury or if you would have made that decision, it's kind of crazy to sit there and think. And then you can see, like, I have a perfect example. I was coaching football over in my high school and I was good friends. Like I said, I was only 4 or 5 years removed. So the kids weren't that much younger than me at 18. I was 23. And there was this one player that I coached. It was his first year playing football, wide receiver. He was some of the most gifted players I've ever seen. He could have went and played at any college, but he was a
Mhm.
basketball kid. And he loved basketball. And I'm never going to knock him for that. But he was a 6'2" guard who could dunk, was an okay shooter, and didn't like to play defense. So I would say to him, I'd be like, dude, you play AAU. How many dudes are there basically exactly like you? He's like, oh, a lot, coach. I'm like, I haven't seen any kids that can take a 20-yard slant and take it to the house almost every time. You're in the wrong sport. And he was also he took third place in the triple jump at Meet of Champions in Jersey, where Carl Lewis was standing right there. So, but he still ended up playing basketball. He's still playing ball to this day. So I'm not going to knock him. One of my favorite athletes, though.
Nice.
But it just goes to show, like, when you're trying to give that experience. Now, you are right now only doing it for young women. Do you plan at some point to expand this to kind of get it to young men as well? Or is this kind of trying to give it back to the young women because AAU really tends to focus around young men right now?
I'm just trying to concentrate on the girls. I feel like, sometimes we don't get a lot of love. It's a lot of love in the men's basketball side of things. So
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to contribute to the future WNBA players, and I try to show them the way. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely – I want to go back to that because I want to, kind of talk to you about that as well. There's so many things that the end of this podcast is just going to be fun because we have some explosive stuff that we want to talk about, and I know you're passionate about some of it because, you're a pro athlete. And you told me one of the things we're going to talk about you find disrespectful, and I just can't wait to hear your reaction on it. But we're going to get to some happier things first. Rutgers, your amazing run. I'm a Jersey boy. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, right in Manchester Township. It's a small little town.
Mm-hmm.
And I always followed Rutgers. And when you ladies went to the national championship game, I was going nuts. I'm not going to lie. It was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. Just how did it feel to get just what was that run like? It had to be magical that whole year.
Oh man, that run was amazing. It was an amazing run, man, and it's one that definitely goes in the books for sure.
I could only imagine. And now I remember that year you played Duke early in the season.
Oh man, no.
Absolutely whooped up on y'all. Just it was they took you guys to school, but then you saw them again.
Yeah.
Semifinal where you guys saw them and you beat them. What was that feeling like?
It was an amazing feeling, especially because it was that same year that Coach String called us the worst team. A couple of months prior, it was the time Coach String called us the worst team she's ever coached, and she took everything away from us. We couldn't enter our locker room. We couldn't wear our practice gear because she didn't feel as if we were representing the school as we were supposed to. We weren't representing our families, and it was brutal. So, beating Duke basically set the tone for the rest of our run. And if we knew we could have that game, we felt like we could win everything.
Absolutely. Now, eventually you did end up losing the championship game, but just what was it like to just be there? Like, just even at the start of the game, to just kind of look around and be like, this is one of the pinnacles of this sport. Playing in the college national championship is one of the things that you dream of. What was it like just to step on the court at that point, and just, was there a little bit of starstruckness going on, or was it just all business?
I think all business, all business. It's just one of those things where you just, it's, it was all business, man.
You guys were there to win.
Always, yeah, got to.
Now, part of that definitely has to be the tone set by Coach C. Vivian Stringer, who doesn't look like she takes any crap at all. And I think just outside of just even women's basketball, she's one of the greatest basketball minds, period. Just take women out of it. She's right up there with the Coach K's, Gina Oriemas, all those guys. What was it like playing for one of the greatest coaches of all time? Do you sit there and look at that and just kind of feel blessed to have that opportunity?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely blessed. I think the one thing Coach Stringer always emphasized was mental toughness, and being able to go through her practices for 4 years. Oh yeah, I was mentally prepared for any practice in this world. I feel like I could probably get through a football practice.
They're not that bad. Don't let them intimidate you. Football practice ain't that bad.
Yeah. So, I think she instilled a lot of that in each and every one of us. And that's why, we've all had long careers.
Now, what was it like getting recruited? Was Coach Stringer very involved in your recruitment, or was a lot of the assistant coaches coming in? How was she in terms of her recruiting style?
She was very hands-on. She was very hands-on at the time. Jolette Law was the one who recruited me, but I think Coach Stringer sealed the deal at the time. And I always tell the story of how my mom was the one who really made the decision for me to come to Rutgers University. Because at the time, my high school coach was killed, and she was from Piscataway. She literally lived right around the corner from Rutgers. And, my mind was made up on going as far away as possible. First school I wanted to go to was LSU, but I guess I waited too long to make that decision. Then the next school I made a decision to go to on the National Signing Day was Maryland, because, again, I wanted to be as far away as possible. But on the National Signing Day, my mom would not sign for me to go to Maryland. She just would not sign. I'm like, well, if you're not signing this, you going to Rutgers. So,
hey, mother knows best. Look at that now.
Yeah. So my mom made the best decision of my life.
So does she throw it in your face now? Like, what if you went to Maryland? What would have happened?
She actually doesn't. She's just like, she still loves Coach Stringer till this day. And, I'm thankful for both of those strong women.
So all young athletes out there, and even older people, listen to your mama. Bottom line, always listen to your mama.
Yeah, definitely.
Keeping with Coach Stringer a little, you said that her preparation for you was how a lot of the athletes that you went with had long careers. Do you definitely think that playing in Coach Stringer's system not only allowed you the mental fortitude, but just the preparedness in terms of basketball sense, where when you went into the WNBA level, obviously there was a learning curve because it's a pro game, it's faster, there's more to it. But did you feel that your learning curve was less than some of the other rookies around you when you first entered the league?
Oh, most definitely, especially when it came to the practice. When I got to the league, they were telling me practice was only for like 45 minutes to an hour. And I'm like, what?
And no suicides? Wait, hold on.
Man, I went crazy. I'm like, hold on. No, there's no way. I go from a 4-hour practice to just an hour, maximum an hour. So
did you have to start hitting the gym after practice just to keep yourself going?
I was mind blown. And then another thing Another thing was the fact that when you become a pro, yeah, there's no team dinners. You're on your own. So I would say for the first 3 or 4 months, actually for the first 2 months of my WNBA career, I was like lost.
Did you have any veterans, though, that took you under your wing when you were there and kind of showed you the way and helped you out? Because I know that's always a big part of when athletes are going into the pros. I had my buddy Kevin Malice on there. He played football for Rutgers. I don't know if you know Kevin, but
Mm-hmm.
he mentioned to me how when he was in Chicago, Brian Urlacher, who's possibly one of the greatest middle linebackers of all time, took him under his wing and basically taught him how to be a pro when he first got there, which I think is cool. Do you have any veterans that took you under your wing and basically taught you how to be a pro down in
Yeah,
Houston?
a lot of them gave me advice. I wouldn't say it was like I had Tamika Dixon, who is probably one of the best players to come out of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Um, she was there in Houston my first year, and then after leaving Houston, I think my DC days. I had to kind of figure it out, but I eventually got it. I think a little bit more guidance from my veterans would have been great. And that's what I try to be now to the younger players, because I know that had I had those things, decisions probably would have been, a little bit more easier for me. So, I think when you become a pro, sometimes, veterans tend to, at times look at a younger player like, oh, okay, here's this kid, I already have my own life. But then you have those other veterans who, they pull you alongside, like, look, kid, like, there's no way you can do that. And you can't stay out this time and feel like you're going to play a full game. So it's a lot of those things that I try to tell, a lot of the younger kids now. When it comes to being a pro. So it's the small details.
That's it's always nice to hear though when they do have the veterans that do that. But it is definitely it's like every other professional world. When you get out there, you got to do you. You got to figure it out. No one's gonna do it for you.
Because as many times, a lot of times veterans try to tell younger players stuff, but it's like for them, I think experience is the best teacher, because you just don't know. And every kid is like, man, even though you're in that situation, it doesn't mean I'll be in that situation.
Exactly. Everyone's got that Superman complex, especially coming out of college.
Yeah. So the ones who listen, I feel like they have a faster learning curve.
Wonderful. All right. So now we're going to get to some possible unpleasantries here. It came up that I saw randomly. I don't know where I saw this, but I believe Arike Agunbowale was asked about lowering the rim and what she thought about that. And she got pretty heated. She wasn't happy about it. She said it was basically a ridiculous notion that is disrespectful to all the women out there. Mm-hmm. Contrasting what Elena Deladon said back in 2016, where she believes that lowering the rim would be better for the women's game overall. Where do you sit on that?
I do think it's disrespectful, because it's like, of course, we're women and men are men. It's the same sport for sure. We do the same things. We probably get the same amount of sleep. We still train the same, but the only difference is that we cannot dunk. Lowering the rims, I think, how can I put this in a nice way, Alex?
You don't have to. It's a podcast. Listen, unless it's going to affect you professionally, I could throw an explicit tag on this, Matee, and then it's good.
I just think it undermines who we are. It undermines our strength. It undermines our natural abilities. It undermines women in general. It's like, it's like being at any other job where I feel like women, period, are always undervalued. By lowering the rims, it shows that, okay, we know you guys can't do this because, you're women. We know we're going to put you guys on this side. We're not going to pay you guys. And, just stand in that box of women. And while us men, we get paid more, we don't have to go through the, what do you call it? Where women are sexualized, where you have to show skin in order to.
I agree with you on that. I wrote an article for my blog, a blog post. It was when Serena Williams won the Athlete of the Year, and on the cover, she was sitting on the throne, and it was a low-cut shirt and a dress showing her leg. And I was like, why? Why? She's probably one of the, if not the greatest female athlete of all time, one of them, and we got to sexualize her. That pisses me off too. I agree 100% on that.
Yeah, I just think it's a shame that women always have to be put in that box where it's like, if we're not made to be, especially when it comes to, if we're not made to be sexy, don't watch that. Like, no, it's a sport. We're supposed to get dirty. We're supposed to be aggressive. We're supposed to, no one's telling guys, show us a little skin while you play. But no,
unless it's Cristiano Ronaldo, then I think a lot of women.
You do have a little point. Yeah.
If it's Cristiano, they're like, can he play with the shirt off all game? Can he play with the shirt off all game?
But I definitely think it undermines us as women in our sport. Now, you take a player, for example, on my scouting site, I just posted a player. Her name is she's a Stanford commit. Her name is Fran Bellaby. Mm-hmm. And this kid is like dunking everything.
Was she the one that was the 6'1" girl they just put on? She just went in game and just banged?
Yes, 6'1", and just everything. She's dunking everything. So for a kid like that, like, I think our game is growing, like these kids are being athletic. Like, so everyone's not going to be able to dunk. Brittany Griner can dunk. It still doesn't change the fact that people aren't watching as much. Now, if you're talking about marketing standpoint, yes. Okay, there's a deficit there. But, I don't think lowering the rim would – no, it's disrespectful. So that's just my point of view. I just feel like women are magic. Women are great. Women are strong. And we're women, and we're still – we're great. So don't undervalue us to make men happy.
Yeah, and I can definitely agree with that point. Now, Elena does bring up, I was reading an article of hers, because I never like to come into these type of things unprepared. I want to, know what she said. She brought up the fact that the ball's smaller, the three-point line is more in. And then she kind of brought in the fact that, tennis, they play less sets. Women's golf, they move it closer. Yeah. Certain things. And that was, her point is definitely, I guess, arguable. Now, I'm just curious because one of the travesties I see with women is definitely the rate of pay, where the women's game, and the women, especially in the WNBA, where I see athletes like Amaya Moore, who I feel like is the LeBron James of the WNBA, and she's making peanuts to the dollar on what, a lower level NBA guy is making. And I think that is insanity. If for some reason studies would show that possibly having more women dunk would bring more money to women in the sport because of the marketing, because the ownership making more money, would that kind of change your view if then women can get paid on a much closer level?
I mean, I feel like women should be paid on that level right now, but I don't know. I don't know, Alex.
It's tough. It's a really tough, and I cannot be in your shoes because I'm not a female, and nor am I a professional athlete. So
it's
my
like
opinion from the outside looking in here.
It's like one of those situations where I don't feel like it's in the, you're never going to win. Because when we start dunking, women are too aggressive, and it's going to be something else.
Matee, don't get me started on some certain sports where I just feel like they don't allow women to be athletes. Like
we look at
afraid to let women be athletes.
Look at the Serena situation, where because I think she yelled, she said something to the umpire or something like that. And I guess they said because she was too aggressive. What was that situation, Alex?
Yeah, I remember. She was called for her coach was coaching her apparently from the sideline, and she was called for that, and they gave up a point, and it ended up, I don't think it ended up costing her the game overall. I think it messed with her mindset. Definitely messed with her mindset, but the official thought she was doing something illegal, and she did. She yelled at the official, but I see your point where a lot of men yell at the officials, and even a lot of other female athletes. So why are we singling Serena out? Because she's the
Exactly.
greatest.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's always going to be inequality.
And
Um,
unfortunately, I feel like, and it is slowly getting closer and closer. It's just it's a grind. And I feel like unfortunately, it's been from the beginning of time for women that it has been a grind for equality. But here's to the hopes that it gets closer. I'm hoping that the ESPN agreement with the WNBA will continue to promote it, because I think the unfortunate part with the wage gap with the NBA and WNBA is because of, unfortunately, attendance at that point, because ownership, all they see is money. That's just the bottom line. So if they're not making it, they're not going to pay it. It's unfortunate. It really is. It's
definitely.
it's such a sticky situation, but I 100% respect. And again, like I said, I can't be in your shoes because not a pro. I'm not a woman. I just really wanted your opinion on this. And
No problem.
and I completely agree with you. Now, do you have any other ideas? Because now you're in the entrepreneurial point and you are a professional athlete. Do you have any other ideas where we can start to bridge the gap between men and women athletes, or men and women in general?
Man, we'll be talking all night with that.
Hey, listen, we could talk after this too. That
That right there. I think it's so many aspects where and it's something it's not gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen in my lifetime. Hopefully it does. But that gender gap, I feel like it's always going to be there. Um, it's always gonna be there, and I don't know what to change it. Um, but yeah, that's just a conversation that's we're gonna have during my kids' generation, your kids and their kids, and it's gonna go on forever
I
unless
mean, this is something where I wish we could see, a woman buy a team and be the owner of a team, so then they can make more decisions. That would be more, because I
I,
think there is
I
the gap where men kind
no.
of think in men's own sphere
You said women own the team. We're in the WNBA.
in any sport, just period, just women
Yeah,
owning a team.
yeah, yeah.
I just think it would be different. It would be great. Right now, you have, um, I forget her name, but for the for the Bills and the Sabres, she runs the teams, which is awesome. Pagula is her last name, or I think her husband owns it. They're part owners, but that was revolutionary. I think Becky Hammon's going to be a head coach at some point in the
Oh yeah,
NBA, and that's going to be amazing.
yeah. I mean, we're knocking on the door. We're
Oh yeah,
definitely knocking on the door. So I think Becky Hammond. Who else? I think Sue Bird just started working with. Is it Seattle? Not
yeah,
Seattle.
yeah. I think Sue Bird started that, and
I said Seattle.
not
And
Seattle. Well, Seattle needs to get a team back though.
yeah, that for sure. And they need to add Nate Robinson.
Ah,
Let's
Nate the Great.
let's
Honestly,
put that out there.
add Nate. I think what should happen is, once Kevin Durant retires, I think dudes like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, they need to pool their money together and kind of force a Seattle team.
I think there's going to be a Seattle team before he retires.
I hope so. Or and then
They should
and
get that team back.
he
It's
should
been a lot
demand a
of news
trade.
about
KD should demand a trade back to Seattle if they come up.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I think KD gonna be. I don't know. I feel like KD's gonna make a move soon too.
I don't know if you know my man Brandon Scoop B. Robinson. And he's an NBA insider. He's been putting out, sources. He's been putting out KD is going to the Lake Show. Him and LeBron are gonna be together.
Hey, more power to my brother LeBron. That's my favorite player. So hey, come on, KD, let's go.
Yeah, he has good words that it's KD and Anthony Davis possibly going to LA.
But didn't KD just throw some shade at LeBron recently?
I mean, they throw shade at each other.
Oh, okay.
when you are 1 and 2 in the world, there's gonna be a little bit of shade thrown left and right.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. That when
Yeah.
they're competitive, there should be shade. Off season, off season. In season, no
Yeah.
one should like each other.
Yeah. But if he gonna join the team, you gotta watch his mouth now.
Hey, listen. Lance Stevenson joined that team, and LeBron did not like Lance for a
Oh
minute there.
yeah, yeah. Lance was blowing in our ears, huh?
And even Rondo, he had some bad rivalries with those Boston teams where Rondo was right in the middle being scrappy. LeBron's just a pro. He'll play with anyone.
Exactly. See, that's why he's gonna be one of the greatest players to
Would
go
you put him above Michael?
there.
I'm putting you on the spot right here.
LeBron is my boy. I think he's and I hate to say, you know how everybody gets in a conversation. Oh, Michael Jordan was playing today. It's a different era. It's a different kind of game now. So it's like I feel as if it's still, it's apples and oranges because it's just different. The athleticism now is ridiculous.
Oh, it's insane. And it's the way I look at it too, we're comparing the wrong players. Michael and LeBron aren't the same player. LeBron is Magic. LeBron is Oscar Robertson, where Michael is Kobe. It's Carmelo. That is more of their scores.
Yeah. Yeah.
LeBron's
What you think
everything.
Speaking of Melo, what's going on with Melo, man?
What's going on? You know what? I just don't. He's a focal point player, and he needs the ball, and he could still score at a high point in this league. I don't know. I love Melo. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan, but I've always respected Melo. I don't know. I'm just hoping Melo could find some more traction before his career is done and maybe get a chip.
Yeah, I just think this turn that Melo's career has taken, it's unfortunate because he's a I wouldn't say he's great because I feel like he hasn't gotten those other things.
I don't know. Those Denver Nuggets teams that were so close. He was great in Denver.
Yeah, but Melo is a volume shooter.
Yeah.
Melo isn't anything else. I feel like he can rebound,
He's a bull too. Like if he really put his mind to it, he can be a 20-10 guy getting 10 boards. He really could.
Yeah, but what about the other part of the defensive part of the making other people better part of it, making, I wish the best for him.
Now, do you know LeBron or Melo? Have you met them personally at all?
No. I met LeBron, give him a little dab like, yo, you my favorite player.
Come on, LeBron. Come on, what you doing, man? LeBron, you gotta. Matee's awesome. What are you doing? Not chilling with her? Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great player.
Definitely. Yeah. So who else right now? You mentioned a few players that you are rooting for besides LeBron in the WNBA. Who else are you following right now?
Tiffany Hayes, Brittany Sykes from Syracuse. These are the players that are on my team. Essence, of course. Essence over there in LA. Marissa Coleman. All of the players that, I've played with, those are the ones I follow. Also, some of these young gunners, man, these kids, I'm checking out this college basketball too. What's the girl from Notre Dame? She's gonna be a top pick. With the other girl from Louisville.
What's in Notre Dame's water? Muffin McGraw is doing things. She
Muffet
really
is killing
every year.
Muffet is killing it. She's killing it.
God, her recruiting has been unbelievable. So,
yeah,
who's going to win the national championship this year in college girls ball?
Rutgers University.
They better. That is the right Coach Stringer. If you listen to this, that was the right answer.
I just think it's up for grabs again, man. It's gonna be the Final Four it's gonna be exciting. These kids are getting really, really good, and they're gonna make excellent pros.
And who is going to win WNBA come this summer? Who do you think is going to take the chip?
I don't know.
You can have an opinion now since you're taking the hiatus.
It's always up for grabs, man. I feel like everybody is always up for grab. The Atlanta Dream had a great run last year. I don't know why I'm fumbling names right now. Like I have
Because I
no.
put you on the spot because I'm a jerk.
Yeah, but they had a great run. Angel came back, new coach, and they did well. So I'm rooting for a little bit of everybody till I got to compete against them. Then I don't like nobody.
So last question pertaining to WNBA. The New York Liberty are apparently getting kicked out of Madison Square Garden.
What you mean? They weren't in the Garden last year.
Yeah, but they were. Where were they at last year? Because I know they got kicked out.
Yeah, Westchester.
They were in Westchester. Are they staying there? Is that going to be their permanent home? Like, what is there? Because I tried to stay up and I kind of lost it. Do you know?
Yeah.
Is that going to be their permanent home now? Or are they trying to find somewhere else?
I think I think they're going through a lot of different motions right now. So it'll be interesting to see in the next couple of months what's going to happen with the New York Liberty. I do think it's unfortunate that they're no longer in the Garden because the Garden was such a monumental place to be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely unfortunate. But all right, Matee, thank you so much for coming on.
No problem at all.
Oh, and one last thing with iScout, make sure you send some girls over to Marist. My boy Brian Georges, great head coach. You got to get my Marist girls some players.
Okay. Hey, make sure you tell him to hit me up. Let's get some kids over there.
I will tell Brian to definitely get in touch with you. But Matee, again, thank you so much for coming on. 11-year veteran over in the WNBA who is on hiatus and not retired. She will be back. You better be ready for her. But she will be back. She is the owner, founder of iScout Women's Basketball, scouting women internationally and domestically to be ready to go college and pro. And she's just all around awesome. Rutgers championship run member, almost won the championship, almost. But just awesome overall. Matee, where can people find you again on social media?
Sure. Ajavon to you too. My last name, the number 2, YOU2, another 2. And both on Instagram and Twitter. Also follow my scouting website. My scouting page as well. iScout WBB on Instagram as well as Twitter. So.
All right, and yes, this is Matee Ajavon. I am the host of Sports Opinions Podcast, Alex Cuesta. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @A_Cuesta30. Find Sports Opinions on Twitter at SportsOpinion30, Instagram Sports Opinions 30. Visit the Facebook page by searching for Sports Opinions Podcast. And you can find this podcast and all the other great ones and great guests I've had. Virtually any player you can find the podcast. Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, YouTube, Spreaker, Stitcher, anywhere you can find it, search it, go find it, like it. Again, Matee, and also Matee, you are the first episode after my first full year of podcast, so I do really appreciate you coming on. It was starting off this new year with the bang.
I feel special.
Yeah, you are special, Matee, and again, I'm gonna have you on again whether you like it or not. So
sounds like a plan.
But all right, everyone, thank you for listening. Have a good one.